Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Jenny. I'm from Jenny Card Designs. Thanks so much for stopping by to spend some time with me here today. My YouTube channel contains content that is intended to share paper crafting, tutorials, and inspiration with all of you. I hope that you enjoy. I've got a fun stamp layering card project that I made using the Simon Says Stamp Layered Tulips. I really think that this set has the ability to create such versatile cards. Just by changing up the color combination or the sentiment on the card, you can create a variety of different types of cards. It is a 4-step stamp that creates a row of tulips, and I think it's just so pretty. So I'm going to give you some tips on lining up this stamp set and make a set of cards with it. I start with the very bottom layer in the set using this solid sort of grass and leaf. I think this is the easiest way to line up this stamp set, although it's fairly simple. I'm going to line that up on my cardstock and get it picked up with Adore My Misty, and I'll just rub my hand over the stamp to remove any of the manufacturing residue that might be sitting on top of the stamp. And I'm going to ink up with my first color ink. I'm using Gina K Designs Premium Dye inks for this, and I'm stamping using Jelly Bean Green ink. So I'll ink it up, turn the Adore My Misty, and stamp this down, and we've got our first layer. Okay, so this is pretty simple. I like to mass produce things, and when I have a stamp set like this, I like to create a whole bunch of cards at one time. So I stamped a whole bunch of these panels. I stamped a total of 12 of the first layer. Since I stamped 12, I went back to the very first one that I stamped so that the ink would be dry. And now here we're going to take a look at some of the reference points where we can line up the stamp. So starting with the first arrow, you want to make sure that little blade of grass lands right on top of the edge of the previous stamped layer. And the same thing for this sort of midpoint here. And then for the far end, the exact same thing. So you kind of work at the beginning, middle, and end, and you'll find that it layers together quite easily. Once I close the Door of the Misty, I take a look to make sure that I'm comfortable with the position. Now every time I open the Door of my Misty, I always reposition my cardstock, making sure that it's shifted in the bottom right hand corner. So this is important for stamp layering, to make sure that you land in the right spot every time. And then I'm going to ink up and stamp with my Gina K Designs Fresh Asparagus ink. And then here we get our beautiful dimensional looking leaves and stems for our tulips. So now let's move over to the actual flower of the tulip, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take a look at the beginning, the middle, and the end reference points, taking a look to make sure the stamp sort of just meets right up to those stems. And then once I'm happy with that, I pick the stamp up with the Door of the Misty, and then I'm going to ink with this color. It is Fuzzy Peach from Lawn Fawn. I think this is a really pretty soft color. So I get that stamped, and I really love the way this looks so far, and I'm going to stamp with Gina K Designs Tomato Soup ink, and then Gina K Designs Wild Wisteria ink. And then we're going to move on to the very last layer, and we're going to do the exact same thing. Beginning, middle, and end, and we're going to make sure that those outline layers line up with the outside of the tulips. And you'll see once it lands over top, it's almost like a puzzle piece. It sort of slips right into place, and you can tell it's sort of right on. You'll have to get your head right over top. I edited that part out so you didn't have to see the back of my curly afro. So I'm going to stamp this layer with Gina K Designs Sweet Mango, and I think that turned out pretty. And then for the red layer, we're going to use Red Velvet, and then my husband came in, gave me a kiss. And then for the purple one, I'm using my favorite things, Eggplant. And this turned out so pretty. Here's a look at all of the panels that I stamped. I stamped 4 of each color, and then I'm going to turn this into a note card set. So I have this stamp set called Avery L. Banner Bits, and it's got a bunch of different sentiments in it, and I think it's pretty versatile. So I paired each of my set of tulips with a coordinating color cardstock. I have 3 colors of Gina K Designs cardstock. I have Red Velvet, Wild Wisteria, and Warm Glow. And I trimmed the panels down to measure 4 by 6, and my card base is 5 by 7. I'm going to use a bunch of the sentiments from this set, and I've got a Gina K Designs comfort block, and I just pick up the stamp, I lay it on my work surface, and then I use the grid lines on my comfort block to make sure my sentiment is straight. I'm going to stamp using VersaFine Onyx black ink. This black ink never lets me down. It always makes sure that my stamp image is crisp and clean, and I like the way it looks. So here are all of my sentiments all stamped out, ready to go. I felt like I needed to bring something into the background to tie in my black stamp sentiment. So I just grabbed some black cardstock, and I'm just going to create a little tiny border around my stamped panels. And I'll glue them down and I'll trim them up, and then I'll get it all adhered to my card. There's no measurement here. It's just sort of eyeballed. It's like a 1/16 of an inch or something around the border. I just thought it helped make those colors pop off of the card base. And I like the way that it looks. So I'm going to adhere this little panel down to my card base, and I'll do that for all of my cards. And then that's it. I really love this set. I think that you could mask off the tulips and create a rainbow of tulips. I think that would be a fun look. So that is it for today's project. Here is a close-up look at all of the cards that I made in this beautiful set. This is a wonderful group of cards to give as a gift. You can split them up or keep them together or use them throughout the year. I hope that you've enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend it here with me. Coming up on screen are a few videos that I think you may enjoy. Have yourself a lovely day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!